Hello, everyone, and welcome to UFO Friday. I'm so glad that you could join me here today. We're approaching the end of March, and I can't remember if it came in like a lion or a lamb this year. Does anybody remember that? It seems like it was so long ago. Boy, I remember that saying from childhood. I'm trying to find my way over here so that I can join you and say hello. Let's see, I gotta get my camera pulled up and bam, here I am. Hello, nice to see you. See, I got myself covered up. There I am. Welcome, welcome. Things look a little different back here because I got a new desk and it's really exciting. It's one of those stand up, sit down desks. And oh my goodness, I can do so much. That's my water bottle for my cat. When she misbehaves, I can make her listen to me. So yeah, this stand-up, sit-down desk is amazing. I've been wanting one for a while, and it really resolves a lot of problems for me. Like for one, I couldn't see the screen all that well, so now all I have to do is push it up or push it down to get it in the right spot. And it's just been so helpful. The cat wants to sit on my lap. I just stand up and she doesn't have a lap to sit on anymore. So it's really, really fun. So, if you're coming to UFO Friday for the first time, let me introduce myself to you. I am Michelle Umloff, and I am a national sewing educator. I've been on the circuit for about the past 15, 18 years. I don't know, I kind of lost count there somewhere. And I get to travel across the country and work with anybody that signs up for one of my classes or in a class that I am giving on behalf of Salky or Clover. And it's just been a lot of fun. Those years certainly have gone by really fast. And I also work for myself, of course, and UFO Friday is something that I started back during the pandemic when we were all kind of locked in and didn't know what to do with ourselves. So UFO Friday has evolved a lot over the past 5 years, but I'm so glad that it's continuing to go strong and that some of my friends are still joining me from 5 years ago. It's been amazing. So thank you all very much for that. I recently sent out a newsletter to the people that are on my list, and I asked them, how would you describe UFO Friday? Because oftentimes I just have a hard time putting it into words. And, it's a place where we can all get together and join one another, share what we're working on, get inspired with not only the projects that we're working on, but with what other people are doing. We get to follow them closely and keep them accountable for getting those projects done. I know I was able to get one finished after 12 years back during the pandemic, and I just had a little bit to do in that. So today you're going to help me finish another UFO. I'm going to share that with you for our presentation today, which is on Applique. I'm going to show you some great tools that you can use for Applique, as well as share some tips with you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. And if you didn't know, I have a group of people in a private room on Zoom, and then I'm also streaming out here live on Facebook and YouTube. My PowerPoint presentation isn't cooperating as well as I'd like it to, but we had a show and tell that was submitted by JoJo. And here is a picture of her. I think she called it her floating geese, if I'm not mistaken. And she did a fabulous job with this project. It is a charity quilt, and she is giving it to an organization so that they can raise money. I believe she had said it was for a scholarship, if I'm not mistaken. But we had a lot of fun the last time we met, and JoJo was telling us how she made her floating geese. So thank you, JoJo, for submitting a picture, because this is so much easier to see. Even though you were able to hold that big quilt up, we can appreciate it seeing the whole thing right here. So, yay. If you ever have pictures that you want to submit to me, please send them. You can send them to my email address, which is michelle@sewingmachineartistry.com. And I'll be sure to give you that information in a little while so that you can see it. So, let's see, what's my next one. So I told you I have a downloadable for you. I just finished it up moments before UFO Friday began. And it's called the Essential Applique Tips and Tools for Faster, Easier Projects. And you're going to want to grab a copy of this, and you will go to sewingmachineartistry.mykajabi.com. So I have my website kind of hosted somewhere else, so we have to put that My Kajabi in there. And then you're going to put a / and UFOF has to be in capital letters, and the word applique has to, or the letter A in applique has to be in capital letters. I tried this before and it told me the page was not found, so that is key. It's again sewingmachineartistry.mykajabi / UFO Friday applique. And there you will be able to download this real pretty guide that I created for you. Next slide. Come on, computer. Don't fail me now. So today I'm going to show you several different products by Salke and Clover. If you recall, when we talked about the t-shirt projects, I told you about Soft and Sheer Extra and Tender Touch Stabilizer. And this is another opportunity for us to use them. And I'm going to show you some other products as well. One is Clover's fusible web type product called Wonder Fuse. I'll show you some applique pins, and this other item is a very small hair marker for doing applique and sewing. And then finally, the Design Pro Applique Mat by Clover. Some nice products there, and I think you're going to enjoy what they can do for you. I will show them to you during my demonstration, and you'll see that in the upper left-hand corner, I have a QR code that you should be able to hit with your camera on your phone, and you can pull that up. It's going to take you to sewingpartsonline.com. I do have an affiliate link with them, so that's embedded with that link. And Sewing Parts Online really does have some competitive prices compared to Amazon. So if there's something that you think you need, either from me or something that you need to stock up on, you might want to check them out. They're really good people to work with, and I'm happy to share some business with them. So let's see what else I got on the next screen. And it's blank. Okay, that's what I thought. So let me go over to one of my demo cameras that I have set up, and I will get this party started. So let me use this one. Oh, that's not the one I thought it was. That's a sewing machine, isn't it? Let me move that. I'm sorry about that. I did have this all set up yesterday. This is what I did yesterday, and best laid plans sometimes have fun with you, don't they? Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. Where's this one? There we go. I'll use this one instead. So let me clarify that just a little bit. So I want to start off by showing you a use for that Saki product, Soft and Sheer Extra. So if you remember correctly, this is a stabilizer that has a little bit of body to it. So you can see right here, it doesn't just drape, and it has that texture to it. So some companies call this a no-show mesh stabilizer. You can see the texture right there. And on one side it's a little coarse, and it has a fusible glue on the other side. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to pretend you want to do an applique, and we're just going to use a really simple design, and we'll just say we're drawing our circle onto our our Soft and Sheer Extra. Okay, and you would want to draw that on the smoother side. It'll be a lot easier. Okay, so then you're going to pull it up to your fabric, and you're going to place the rough side of that stabilizer to the right side of your fabric. Okay, it seems a little counterintuitive, and what you're going to do is you're going to sew all the way around, and do not leave an opening. Sew all the way around. All right, so then you're going to cut off the excess stabilizer, and then you'll have something that looks like this. Okay, you'll have your little circle. I like to use pinking shears. They are hands down my favorite pair of scissors to use, and whenever I can use them, I will grab them. So on the other side, you're going to cut a slit, big enough that you can turn this right side out. Okay, and then this smaller hair marker, this is what it looks like. It's a hair marker for applique and sewing, and then you can stick that inside to help you turn this around. This one, I have to admit, this one's been around for years, has made its trip across the country and back several times. But this has a nice pointed end that you can use to turn corners as well. So it's very handy, and I like this smaller size. So what this is going to be really helpful for when you do applique, there's 4 types of applique that you can do. There is the turned applique, like I just showed you. That's still yet fusible applique, but there's another method of turned applique where you would run the hair marker around the very edge, like maybe a 1/4 inch in from the edge of the fabric, from the raw edge, and then you would hand sew that. That's turned applique when you use it by hand. I don't really do much hand stuff, so I like to do it the way that I just showed you. A lot of people enjoy doing the turn applique, and what's really nice about that is that it kind of gives it a little bit of a puffed appearance, so it's not so flat, and it's nice and soft on the fabric. Okay, so let's go back over to that screen. And so when you're ready to sew this onto your project, you're going to place it face down on your you're going to place it wrong side down on your background fabric, because this is the gluey side, okay? That has the adhesive attached to it. And then you can use your iron and it will hold it in place. In my opinion, whenever you do a type of applique, and if this is your first one, you're going to be so proud of yourself, because you're going to say, it looks so beautiful just the way it is. I don't want to put any stitches around it because I'll mess it up. No, you won't mess it up, I promise. adding a decorative stitch, and a decorative stitch could be a straight stitch, a zigzag stitch, a blanket stitch, or anything of that nature around the edge of it is only going to enhance it and make it so much prettier. It's a good idea because it will definitely keep this in place during wash and wear. So that's another reason why you want to add some sort of stitching to the outer edge of your applique to secure it in place. All right. So any questions about that? I'm going to check the chat box over here in Zoom, and I think I'll whip out my phone and check over on Facebook and YouTube as well. Any questions? I'm trying to pull up that chat box. Show chat. Have you ever had one of those days where everything is just a little weird? You know, it just does not want to cooperate. I think I've done some tasks like at least twice today. It's getting kind of old, but it's getting close to 5 o'clock, right? So for some reason, it's not letting me pull up the chat previews. I don't know why, but I'm trying. All right, I'm sorry about that, ladies, over in Zoom, but I'll be able to pull that up in just a little bit, especially when I'm with you in there. And I left my phone upstairs. See, I told you it's one of those days. I will catch any comments that you leave in the comments section of Facebook and YouTube. So shall we carry on? All right, so let's move over to my other demo area, and I'm going to show you a project that I have been working on for about 5 years now. So it's your responsibility to keep me accountable, and hopefully by the next time we meet, I can show you the finished project. How does that sound? All right, so you can see me over here. That's one of the reasons why I wanted the stand-up desk, is so that you could still see me when I go to all these different stations. So I think that makes a difference. So over here, I have my pressing mat set up, and I have the pressing surface down here. It's one of those wool mats by Alysso, and I like this mat a lot because on the back side, this is just a little square. I always get mixed up with that, but it's a small square. And on the back side, it has some of these silicone pieces and there's holes under there so that you could attach 2 of them together, and that this tab will keep them in place. So I think that was a pretty clever invention there. So I got that turned over, and I'm going to place my Design Pro applique mat on top of this. So I want to protect my ironing surface when I'm working with these fusibles. Okay, so this is a nice silicone mat. It's very thick, and it will prevent things from sliding around. I mean, it's going to shift a little bit on this wool mat, but let me take this business card here, and it's not going to move. So that's really nice that it's going to keep your pieces there. So right here, I have a German Shepherd pattern. This is an applique project. Not all the appliques are this complex, but this one happens to have a lot of little tiny pieces to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this underneath of this mat, okay? And I can see through here. Sometimes if you find it a little difficult to see the picture, what you can do is just make a photocopy of this so you have this for reference. So think of this as like you're going to put a puzzle together, okay? And this is telling you where all the pieces go. I mean, wouldn't that be really nice? You know, you have a puzzle that has 1,000 pieces to it and you know what all the shapes look like so you can put them down, right? Super cool. And then the Design Pro Applique mat comes with another cover, and this is like one of those little Teflon sheets. Okay, so this whole both of these pieces come together in the same package. I need to back up for just a second, and I'm going to take you back over to the other camera. Okay, here we are. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to grab my project. So this was made by a company called Whims Watercolor. They make beautiful applique designs. I have another one that I completed. In fact, I can go get that for you. This was one of the first ones that I originally made when I first started sewing, as a matter of fact. And this is an example of why I say go ahead and finish your applique with the stitching around it, because you won't mess it up. It looks so much better if you actually do the stitching around this. So let me put this under a screw camera for you so you can take another look at it. And here you go. So what they do with Whims is they call them watercolor, and they send you a packet of these 2-inch squares that you arrange from dark all the way down to the other corner where your lightest piece will go. And that's your foundation. And what they use for that, I don't think I have it right here with me, but they use that grid, that fusible grid that has those 2-inch blocks on it, okay? And you know what I realized after all these years is that the soft and sheer extra is pretty much the same thing as that type of backing that they have for these squares. So what you do is you iron your squares to that gridded sheet of stabilizer. It's fusible, just like soft and sheer extra. And then you're going to sew the rows and the columns so that it kind of finishes like a quilt, okay? You just don't have to do the individual piecing. You fuse and then sew it together to make it look like it was pieced. So it was a great beginner project. But here is my cat, and see, I didn't put any of the stitching around it because back then I didn't want to mess it up. But yeah, I've often been tempted by going back on to this and sewing around it just to give it some more definition and enhance it a little more. All right, sorry about that little detour, but that was fun. Oh, wrong camera. There we go. So that is the premise of their designs. So, and then this is what they suggest. They give their those little patches that you place in a watercolor. They kind of give you an idea of how you want to place them. It comes with 3 stacks of the 2-inch squares, so you can easily tell which ones are going to be considered the dark ones, the medium ones, and the light ones. And then you can have fun putting this part of the puzzle together. But their pattern pieces can get quite intricate, and what you're going to do is you're going to place a sheet of the Wonder Fuse on top of this pattern that you have. Let me grab a piece out of here. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to open this up and there's not going to be a full sheet in here. These sheets are 9 by 8 inches, and they are not printable. So it is not recommended that you put it through your printer. I have not tried it. I'd rather not. That is so crazy. And this is a really lightweight fusible web. And when I teach students to use this in class, they'll tell me, Michelle, it is not on there. And I'm like, oh yes, it is. It is. It is. Trust me. So it really does not feel like you have any type of fusible web on the back of your fabric. So let me pull a few things over here that I can show you. I did this presentation once upon a time, and I put together a comparison. So this one has the Clover Fuse, Wonder Fuse on the back side of it. And what I like about the Clover Wonder Fuse is that this is actually like a sheet of paper, okay? And the one side of it is fusible. So no matter how hard I try, I am not going to separate the paper backing from the glue until I iron it in place, okay? So this is just really nice and soft. And then here, I have another one. I used to have these marked so I know which company they were from. This one right here is much thicker. And Barb, you sent this to me so I could do this comparison a while back. And on the back side, you can see how shiny that is. And that is the adhesive. Now, it's not sticky. It's nice and smooth, but it is super thick. And I remember that Barb worked on an applique project, and she said she wished she would have known about the Clover Wonder Fuse because it's so much more lightweight than this one is. And I don't think I should name what it is, but it begins, the initials are HB. 2 words, HB, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I should have thought of something clever. And this one right here is one that's very popular, and it has 2 sides to the fusible. So you peel off one release sheet, okay, and you apply it to your fabric and then iron it on, and then you release the other side. Some people like this one because it will temporarily stick to your project until you're ready to iron it down. Okay, so that's the difference between some of these popular brands that are available. So with my sheet of Wonder Fuse, what I'm going to do is grab my pencil, and you can use a pencil or you can use a like a Sharpie, a permanent marker. And oh, I have this to show you too. This is a light board. Ooh. And this one's a big one. I'll show it to you in a little bit, but it's a LED one, so it can get nice and bright so that you can see your patterns underneath there, so that you can just, oops, I needed a long tip for my pencil the other day, so that you can trace around your applique pieces, your little puzzle pieces. I was surprised to learn during some of these expos that I work at how many people have never done applique. So if this is going to be your first time, yay, I'm so happy for you, because this is really a fun project to work on. And there's other people that call it, they just don't call it a name. They say it's the A word. I'd never heard that before. I thought everybody loved applique. So what I find important is to go ahead and write down the name of the pattern piece. So this one says nose overlay, so I'll write nose overlay on here, and then any other details I feel like I need. So, and then keep in mind, you don't have to trace this sheet the way that it appears on this piece of paper. So if I want to put the eyeball up in this corner, I can do that. So you might actually be able to squeeze more onto a piece of paper than just that. So next, you're going to cut out your applique pieces roughly, okay? And what I mean about roughly, say we'll have this whole thing filled up with different designs, but you're going to come in and you're just going to cut around this, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect. And the reason being is that later on, you'll cut it out more precise. So why do that task twice when it can be so much faster to do that right now? Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side, and I'm going to turn off my light box, and I'll show you what this one looks like. This is available on Sewing Parts Online, and let me show this to you. This was one of those things that I bought as an investment. Okay, that means like sometimes you just have to upgrade some of your things that you have in your sewing room, and this is one of them. It comes in 3 different sizes. So this is the one that they call number 2, so it's quite large. And how large is it? I know you were going to ask me that, right? I don't remember. Let's see. It's about 18 inches by 13 inches with the lighted surface. So it's just a little larger than that. They have a smaller one, and there's a big one as well. I opted to get a cutting mat that I can place over top of this, and it's really great if you're working with downloadable patterns that you have to tape together. I like to use it for that purpose so that I can see where to line up my pattern pieces for that. So that's like if you're making clothes or something of that nature. All right, so I have my little nose over at the other camera, so let's jump over there. And here's the nose overlay. So now I think I can actually pull it out. It's so funny. I try to stay organized, and things get a little crazy. Okay, so now at this point, we'll pretend that all of this isn't here, but I will take my nose overlay pattern and place it on the brown fabric for the nose. And then I'll take my iron, and this is Clover's little mini iron, and I'm going to fuse it to the wrong side of my fabric piece, okay? And then leave it there, okay? You don't want to remove the paper at this point because you need to cut it out, okay? Oh, I did turn that on. That's so funny. I thought that was a cool iron. I forgot I snuck down and turned it on. So now is when I am ready to pay attention to the details and take the time to cut this out more accurately. This is a great TV project. So what you would do is just follow around on your trace line to cut that out. And this is why it's like really important to have this labeled, especially when you're working with something so detailed like this pattern piece. One thing I want to mention, and I think I actually did not do this for this project, is sometimes the you have to do the reversal of the design. And so what that means is, if you think about the letters, okay, like the letter E, for example, if you cut out the letter E and you can read it, okay, when you fuse it onto the background surface, it's going to be backwards. So check that out if you're following a pattern of some sort, okay? So this does take a hot minute to do it. But I'm one step closer to getting this finished, right? Celebrating UFO Friday. Almost there. You want to make sure the scissors that you use are sharp and pretty pointy. That is really helpful, especially when getting into some of these smaller areas. So there's my dog's nose. How about that? Isn't that cute? So here's where this sheet comes in really handy, okay? So let's say I wanted to construct this in units, okay? So instead of placing the background fabric on this and then not being able to see what's going to go next, I would start, like, say, with this eye, for example, and take a look at it, and you can say, okay, well, I can work on this in units. So I'm going to take this smaller part of the eye, and I'm going to find that little tiny white piece, and I'm going to glue it in place. Okay, so you would use this to do the fusing onto it and build this into layers. So the Teflon sheet and this is to protect not only your pressing surface, but also to protect your iron from getting all gooey. Okay, don't you just hate that? That is like one of my pet peeves. So now we're ready to start building this project. So if we look through here, I'm ready to get the piece right here, okay? So I'm going to place that right on this pattern outline and then place the previous unit that I had created on top of that. I won't be able to see it at this point, okay, because we're building up. Now we're going to take, and then so these three pieces would be fused together. Now we're going to take this larger piece and we're going to fuse it to the background here, and then we're going to place our smaller piece on top of that and build it up from there, okay? Sometimes you might have an applique design if you think about flowers and how things will overlap one another. This is really great for placement because you might see that a piece goes here, and let's see, I had another piece of fabric over here, or that something goes over in this direction. So that really helps for following patterns unit assembled, right? This whole side of the eye, I can place that down, and now I'm ready for this darker section right here, and I can use this as a template to place that in the right area. So then I'll press all of those together, and then when I pull this back, I'll have this eye fully constructed that I can pull it off and set it aside for a while, and then I can work on different units of the dog's face. And then once I have all those units done, then I can go back and put them where they need to be. So that is one of the really helpful benefits of using the Design Pro applique mat to help you with appliques of that nature. And so to kind of round things off, I already mentioned that you would definitely want to sew around your project to help it stay in place, and so it won't come off during wash and wear. And then with some decorative thread. So you have some choices when it comes to the decorative thread. And I pretty much believe that's how you want your design to appear. Okay, if you want it to be nice and shiny, then you would want to use a rayon or a polyester thread. But if you like that soft matte appearance, then go ahead and use a cotton thread so that it doesn't stand out and smack you upside the face with all that bling. And then one other thing that I wanted to tell you, if you decide to put the applique on a shirt or something like that, you can again use the tender touch so that the body won't feel all of those little different stitches, the bobbin thread on them, like the children or whoever is the recipient of your nice gift. So that is it as far as all of that goes. Let me put my contact information up here so that you can see it. Let me find it. There we go. So it's Michelle at sewingmachineartistry.com. That is my email address. And my main website, you can get to my main website at sewingmachineartistry.com. But if you want that download, let me give that to you again. The download includes information of which products were available at Sewing Parts Online. There were a few of them that were not. And let me find my presentation again. I'll go back to that screen. If you have any suggestions for so is technology. TGIF. There we go. So you can see that. Let me tell you again that UFO and the F in Friday are all capital letters. And then the A in applique is capital as well. So if you want to download my guide that I created for you with step-by-step instructions, you can go to sewingmachineartistry.mykajabi.com/UFO Friday applique. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me here for another UFO Friday. We have next month coming up, and I can't remember. It's April something. I think it's going to be in the 2020s. It's going to be a Friday. I have my calendar up on my computer, so I will check that. It is April 28th. No, wait a minute. No. April 25th. April 25th. So almost a whole month away. If you have any pictures you want to send to me, you can do that at my email address, or you can find me on Facebook. I am fine with being friends unless you are a kooky doctor that's single, divorced, widowed, looking for an American friend, okay? I get so many of those kind of requests that I just ignore them. So even if you send me just a little note and say, hey, I watched UFO Friday and I'd like to share this with you, I'd be more than happy to be your friend. Well, have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and don't get fooled on April 1st, okay? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.